Welcome, guys, to my review of this week's episode of Monday Night Raw. It was billed as a night of firsts, featuring a lot of first time encounters for a lot of top superstars, with the likes of Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens. We had Big Show versus Dean Ambrose, and the main event, United States title on the line, John Cena taking on the World Heavyweight Champion, WWE World Heavyweight Champion, Seth Rollins. Night of firsts. Of course, we did have a video package showing what happened last week concerning that brawl between Brock Lesnar and Undertaker. So there really was no surprise that they weren't featured on this week's episode of Raw, though I think a lot of fans had expected some follow-up, physical follow-up to that brawl, like maybe having Undertaker maybe show up, or Paul Heyman representing Brock Lesnar. They did advertise that Brock Lesnar will be making an appearance next week. So if Lesnar's coming back next week, what's the plan for Taker? Will he also maybe just make a surprise appearance next week, since Lesnar is going to be on that show? Or will it just be Lesnar and Heyman pushing for the main event as far as Lesnar is concerned, and then maybe we'll have Undertaker showing up the previous week? But that's what we have for next week. This week it was just video showing the brawl. They showed it at the beginning of the show, and they went back to that video later on in the show just to remind folks. So I just wonder how the ratings were for this week's episode of Raw. I doubt they were higher than last week's. Last week's, yeah, they were high. As far as I know, they were at I think 2.6. Yeah, 2.6 rating. I'm not sure about this week, but I doubt they were higher than last week's ratings. That's as far as TV goes, but we're not touching on that here. We're touching on Raw. Let's see what went down this episode. We kick off with The Authority making an appearance with the WWE World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins. This episode they were in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. So I think throughout the episode I was thinking of JR. I thought there would be something to do with the JR related, but no JR. Anyway, we got The Authority, and they were the ones who kicked off the Night of Firsts. They promoted that, and also they talked about SummerSlam being the biggest SummerSlam ever, because this event will be 4 hours long. I mean, I don't know how people felt about that. How do you guys feel? SummerSlam being 4 hours when you've got Monday Night Raw 3 hours every week. So you wonder now, how on earth are they going to promote this pay-per-view, aside of course from the main event, Brock Lesnar versus Undertaker? That match on its own is big enough, but they would have to really go all the way to make this event as epic as they are trying to make it to be. So with the weeks we've got until SummerSlam, you gotta look at which other big matches could they put into that event right now, hoping that with the time they've got left, they'll put some effort into some other matches, have them sound as big as well, not really as big, but they have to mean a lot, enough to make that event worth paying for. If you're not on the WWE network, because like I had predicted, this next month for SummerSlam, it's a free month, so you've got your subscribers going to be coming in for SummerSlam. But for those who are not on the WWE network, who are going to be maybe buying pay-per-view or so, how are you going to make this event worth the dollar, aside from the main event? So I'm curious to see what other matches they're going to have for that SummerSlam match card. What else can they bring to make this event as big as they're trying to hype it for the fans? So it's gonna be a 4 hour affair. In my opinion, I'm not really bothered about pay-per-views. I'm just so used to pay-per-views being 2 hours plus. So 4 hours. Well, I think WrestleMania is 4 hours, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So SummerSlam being one of the original Big Four pay-per-views, it's okay. 4 hours is fine as long as it has substance. That's my main concern there, because the main event, I'm cool with it. I'm looking forward to it. I'll watch it, no problem. But what else do you have for the event? That's where my money is. I'm curious about that. So I'm not really bothered about moving the event to 4 hours. No problem about that. I can handle it. So in that same segment with the Authority, that's where they announced these first time ever matches that made up this episode of Raw. They announced Big Show versus Ambrose, Paige versus Sasha Banks, Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton. They announced as well Alicia Fox and Nikki Bella taking on Becky Lynch and Charlotte. And of course, Rollins, being the Weasel champion, always having something to say as far as he's concerned. He starts bragging, as always, about having survived Backlash, despite that it was thanks to The Undertaker's appearance. But as far as he's concerned, what matters is he's still the champ. So he expects people to stand up and acknowledge that, hey, I'm still the champ whether you like it or not. And he's trying to promote himself as what a true champion should be. And that's when the United States champion, John Cena, would show up to crash the Authority's party and end Rollins' bragging. Cena, of course, has spent months building up the United States title. He is, without any question, the definition of what a champion should be. With the United States Open Challenge week after week, he comes out and he reminds Rollins that between them, Cena is the symbol of what a champion should be. Rollins is still a jackass. He's still a joke, said John Cena. And he offered a challenge tonight, a first with the theme going on. He challenged Seth Rollins for the WWE title to finally settle who is the better champion. Then we had Stephanie McMahon, again with the Authority, switching between being mega heels and being baby faces week after week. I thought she had tapped into the babyface side of the Authority when she took the challenge from Cena to the fans and asked, do they want this match to happen tonight on Raw? Cena versus Rollins for the WWE Championship. Of course, the fans, they wanted it. They were excited. They were already hyped. The yes chants were there. And that's when she took it away from the fans back to heel Authority figure, saying, nah, she's not going to give it to them. Instead, Cena will defend the U.S. Championship against Seth Rollins in the main event. It still remains as a first because we've got Rollins in a U.S. title match this time against John Cena. So our main event was set. Triple H is the one who made that match. Stephanie, of course, she had brought up the WWE title challenge to the fans, took it away from them, and then Triple H came in. He made the U.S. title match best for business. That's how our main event was set. So the first match was The Big Show versus Dean Ambrose. This was a battle, I'd say, physical battle on the side of Dean Ambrose, because taking on someone the size of Big Show, and you look at Dean Ambrose, I mean, it could have been a quick match. But Dean Ambrose, he hung in there. He kept coming back for more, giving Big Show, a fight as best as he could. You know what I mean? And there was an odd segment where he untied Big Show's one of Big Show's boots. He untied the laces when Big Show had him in a submission hold. Dean Ambrose got to Big Show's boot, untied them, and then he moved away while Big Show was, I think he spent maybe a minute or so tying his boot. And I thought that was really weird because Dean Ambrose should have, I thought he was backing away in order to pull a move, but he backed away, leaving Big Show to spend a minute or so tying his bootlaces. I'm like, the match is going on. What's going on? But anyway, it didn't last very long. He sorted that out, and the match continued. Also, The Miz was on commentary, and when The Miz was on commentary, I thought, okay, you've got Dean Ambrose in this match, so I don't really see Ambrose getting a clean win. That was my initial thought because it just seems to be the trend with Dean Ambrose right now and WWE, and I think it must be frustrating for a lot of Dean Ambrose fans out there seeing this guy from the way they pushed him last year. Money in the Bank, if you remember, he was on the brink of getting that briefcase until Kane happened. I mean, okay, just to break away from this match, let's trace Dean Ambrose's rise and his fall from the main event picture because it's incredible what they've done with this guy from his time in the Shield. I think he's the longest reigning former United States champion. His reign is the longest, I'd say, in recent memory. Yeah, he held it, I think, for close to a year, if not a year, slightly just over a year. Yeah, but his reign was long. Money in the Bank, briefcase was in sight. Kane got involved, costing him that match. Seth Rollins would get the briefcase. They had a match at SummerSlam. Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins. I think it was a lumberjack match. Kane got involved again. Seth Rollins got the win. Leading up to Night of Champions, Dean Ambrose was taken out. I think it was that curb stomp through the cinder blocks, if I'm not mistaken. I think, yeah, that was it. That took out Ambrose. He was not there at Night of Champions. Night of Champions to Hell in a Cell. Dean Ambrose comes back. I think he had a match against John Cena, contendership for the WWE Championship, and he beat Cena there to face Seth Rollins in a Hell in a Cell match. Yes, they main evented at Hell in a Cell. Good match until Bray Wyatt happened. He came back, cost Dean Ambrose the title, and that match, Dean Ambrose, Bray Wyatt, they fought at Survivor Series. Good match until Dean Ambrose, he gets himself disqualified. Really, I think, yeah, that was the start of, Dean Ambrose's descent, because his SummerSlam loss, we'd like, okay, there was interference from Kane. Then Hell in a Cell, okay, there's interference from Bray Wyatt. We can let that go, but he gets this DQ loss at Survivor Series against Bray Wyatt. They have another match at TLC, a TLC match. That's when the exploding TV monitor incident happened. The screw finishes started happening, and that was the first one. Bray Wyatt, he got the win there. I think from TLC up to the Royal Rumble, they had matches on Raw. I think the last one they had was the ambulance match. Bray Wyatt would win that one, and Dean Ambrose, he lost the feud. Then they brought Dean Ambrose into the Intercontinental Championship picture. King Bad News Barrett was the champion there, so they built up for that match. I think it was at it was at Fastlane because Dean Ambrose was in the Rumble. Yeah, so it was at Fastlane. Dean Ambrose versus Barrett for the Intercontinental Championship. I think Dean Ambrose got disqualified again. Yeah, I should think so. Got disqualified again. He wanted another match. I think for WrestleMania. I think Barrett must have been reluctant, and that's when the Intercontinental title was circulating among other superstars. It stopped being a one-on-one match, turned into a multi-man affair, and that's what led to the ladder match at WrestleMania, where Daniel Bryan would win the Intercontinental Championship. So we fast forward to where we are now. So Dean Ambrose was thrust back into the WWE title picture against Seth Rollins, but again coming up short against Seth Rollins. And at this point, you don't know what's the way forward for Dean Ambrose, because I don't think he'll be in the WWE title picture again for a while. I really think, they wasted the chance they had with Dean Ambrose, and look where he is now. Probably there'll be a match at SummerSlam. He'll team up with Roman Reigns against Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper. That's the match most of us are thinking of right now, because that's the direction they seem to be going for. So that's what Dean Ambrose has to occupy him for the moment. But what happens afterwards? Because it just seems like he can't get that much needed win over Bray Wyatt. He just can't. They'd rather just have him get a screwy loss. There's a screwy finish. I think the one victory he's had over Bray Wyatt, I think it was with the help of Roman Reigns. Yeah, Roman Reigns got involved. Superman punched Bray Wyatt, and then Dean Ambrose got to pin Bray Wyatt. But a match where Dean Ambrose beats Bray Wyatt clean, unless it's happened and I've forgotten, that could be my fault, yeah. But from what I've seen so far, it hasn't happened yet, and I'm not sure if it will happen. Will they fight again? Probably. But I think Wyatt will still win whatever matches they'll have between him and Dean Ambrose. So back to Ambrose versus the Show with Miz on commentary. I thought it was going to be a dirty finish. We didn't get a dirty finish, but we didn't get a pinfall or submission finish. We got a count-out finish because Big Show, gave him 2 choke slams. There was a spear. There was a KO punch. Dean Ambrose spent the last part of the match outside of the ring, struggling to get back into the ring. But honestly, Big Show had given him everything, and he took a count-out loss. Big Show wasn't done there. He was looking to spear Dean Ambrose through, I think, the timekeeper's area at the barricade there. He missed. Dean Ambrose had sidestepped. Big Show went in, spearing the barricade. He didn't get his moment. Ambrose, at least he walked away in one piece, as compared to if Big Show had gotten his spear through. But at least he got that, but he suffered a loss to the Big Show. What happens there? We had Neville versus Fandango. Short match. I thought it would be, it should be a rather long match, because Fandango, even the commentary acknowledged that, Fandango, he's doing well in this match, and he did well in this match. I was expecting more, but it didn't really last that long. Before you knew it, Red Arrow, 1, 2, 3, Neville got the win. And then there was another promo from Stardust after that match. They are really pushing this superhero versus supervillain angle between them, and having Stardust, subtly touch on the Green Arrow. I think I'd heard the possible rumor that they'll involve the star of Arrow, the TV show. They'll involve him with Stardust. So I think this is the build to that. Maybe he'll show up at SummerSlam to be in Neville's corner. Maybe we'll have Neville dress up as the Green Arrow and fight Stardust at SummerSlam with the Arrow actor there on at SummerSlam on Neville's side. That's what I'm thinking. So we had that promo. I'm not sure where are we gonna have a match between them on SummerSlam, not SummerSlam, SmackDown. Sorry, we'll find out. Then backstage we had backstage segment Paige, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch again promoting the Divas Revolution. I think I've talked about it that I liked it at first, but I'm not really as high on it now because it just feels like the glitter and everything about the Divas Revolution, the hype is starting to peel away for me because again, it's just a revolution happening between these 9 women, right? And they're trying to make it sound like it's a revolution for the entire Divas division, but you've got Lana and Summer Rae, they're doing something. The other divas, I mean, who are the other divas aside from the other ladies on NXT, but on the main roster? Who else could they? Rosa Mendes, what is she doing? I don't even know, but she's definitely not involved in this revolution. So it's just happening between. I guess those 9 women are the bulk of the main roster, the Divas division in the main roster. So I guess that's justified that it's a revolution because they're the ladies you can think of when it comes to the Divas division on the main roster. I guess, that should be it. Then BAD, Bad, Beautiful and Dangerous, Naomi, Tamina, and Sasha Banks. Again, without the NXT Championship. I'm still going to push for that until they have come with that title on the main roster. Seriously, it's not happening. I'm not liking it at all. They came to disrupt that little moment between Paige, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch. And of course, things got heated. A little moment between Tamina and Becky Lynch. Perhaps that's a future match. Hopefully, Tamina and Becky Lynch. That'll be a physical contest. I believe that, and I would like to see it. If Becky Lynch can get a big win over Tamina, that would up her stock tremendously. But they had advertised a match for Becky Lynch happening on SmackDown. Becky versus the Divas champion Nikki Bella. It will be happening on SmackDown. So that was advertised. But the next match after the backstage segment was Paige versus Sasha Banks. And what changed was now they finally realized that, oh, by the way, Paige is a former NXT Women's Champion, or NXT Divas Champion, as JBL put it. I did not like that at all. And you can see now that already these NXT women are being integrated into the Divas agenda. They're just going to be turned into Divas, and it's unfortunate because if they're going to be associated with the Diva brand, I think it takes away, what made these NXT women so cool, because they were different. They're not divas. They're female wrestlers. But if you're just going to call them divas and call the NXT Women's Championship the NXT Divas Championship, that really takes away the value of that title. And with Sasha Banks not coming out with the belt, and yet they still call her NXT Women's Champion, that's not cool. You have Sheamus. He is at commentary, but he didn't leave his briefcase backstage. He came with it. He was sitting at commentary for the Owens versus Randy Orton match. He had his briefcase there, and yet Charlotte without championship gold. How can you call her a champion without gold? it's a lousy example, I know, but I'm just going to say Nikki Bella. Whenever there's when she's coming to interfere, she comes with the championship belt. Though I think that yeah, in those instances you can leave the belt backstage, but she comes with the belt to the ring, even if she's coming to interfere, you know. And yet Sasha Banks, sorry, called her NXT Women's Champion without the title. Of course, she's got this belt written boss, uh, this boss belt that she's got now, but she's the NXT Women's Champion, for Christ's sake. Why can't she come out with the gold? You know? So again, no gold. They realized, I think it's like they'd forgotten that, oh yeah, Paige is a former NXT Women's Champion. And I wish they've been acknowledging that from the very beginning. She's a former NXT Women's Champion. She didn't lose the title. If I'm not mistaken, she was stripped of it. I think when she won the Divas title the first time, she was still NXT Women's Champion. So when she won the Divas title, she dropped the NXT Women's title. She didn't lose it. So they touched on that. And yeah, I hope they'll continue to acknowledge, yeah, former NXT Women's Champion, two-time Divas Champion, yeah. Remember that, because again, it just feels like once you're off NXT, whatever you were on NXT, unless, of course, you are, there are some superstars, of course, they still maintain that, okay, whatever they did on NXT will acknowledge, like Neville, for example, like Kevin Owens, Bo Dallas, Lucha Dragons, former NXT Tag Team Champions, but again, they don't seem to acknowledge that, which is unfortunate. But back to this Divas match, you couldn't expect anything less from Paige versus Sasha Banks. They really put on a match that should really give the other Divas backstage, you know, something to look at, because this should force them to up their game, you know, learn how to get their wrestling skills, you know, checked and upgraded, get better and better, because these ladies are setting the benchmark, you know. And someone, I've forgotten who, on the PW Torch podcast, sorry, they highlight that, okay, they're having these Divas matches, I think on Raw, on SmackDown, you know, it's like they're exhausting them. Now, what is it leading up to? Because you're just going to have these ladies taking on each other. Some people are even keeping score that, okay, how many wins does Charlotte have? How many wins does Sasha have? How many wins does Becky have? Paige, and so on and so forth. How many wins do they have? Where is it leading to? You know, rather than spreading out this revolution, but instead you're having them compete on Raw, you're having them compete on SmackDown, or I think overexposing them. So they start to lose that special, I'll say, quality trait that they have, because they've come from NXT and already match after match. If it's leading up to something, fine, have them compete. But right now, it just feels like you're just having them compete with no direction whatsoever, you know. But anyway, it was a great match. The ladies outside of this match, everyone else wasn't involved. They'd reached a point where they would fight at some point during the match, and the ref had enough. He ejected them, so it was now left to be a one-on-one affair. We didn't have to bother about what these other ladies are doing outside the ring. And I think that's where the match picked up and led up to the bank statement from the champion, NXT Women's Champion. Paige would tap out. Though I felt that this bank statement didn't look as effective as it usually does, because you'd expect the person in the hold, you know, to be stretched back, but Paige wasn't really stretched as, you know, like, wow, how you'd usually get the bank statement applied. But anyway, other than that, great match. Sasha Banks got the win over Paige. Then we had another episode of Rusev and Summer Rae promos. Yeah, this one, honestly, as much as I wanted to just face palm and just fast forward, I was like, you know what? Maybe there'll be something at the end of this, a big payoff. There was, but at the beginning of that promo, I was like, for crying out loud, how many more weeks are we going to get of this? What happened to Rusev? You know, from the guy who had, I think he was undefeated for just over a year last year, debuting I think at the Royal Rumble, all the way up to this year's WrestleMania, undefeated by pinfall submission, clean that is, undefeated, and here he is cutting promos. Still not having let go of Lana, he gave Summer Rae a dog. They decided to call it Dog Ziggler. Yeah. Then he gave Summer a fish, headless fish. Yeah. The crowd, yeah, they had a good kick out of that one. Of course, Lana wouldn't have anything of it, any more of that. She came down, had some words with Summer, had some words with Rusev. She got her revenge on Summer Rae. I think she pressed a face into that fish, and Summer, honestly, she had a really terrible reaction. And yeah, that was a big payoff because the crowd was enjoying it. She was screaming and stamping her feet all over. So I guess, yeah, that was the big payoff. But really, Rusev, you'd expect them to have something more for him, you know, even if he's with Summer Rae. Why don't they have him? Okay, I guess because they don't really have anyone else right now who they can fight in mixed tag team action. That's what I would have hoped for, you know. Have Summer Rae active, have Rusev active. Okay, he's been active with Cesaro and Owens, but with Summer Rae as well. I mean, she's a diva, so have her compete in the ring with Rusev, mixed tag team action. But again, it goes back to the Divas Revolution. Those are your main ladies. Who else is outside who could take on Rusev and Summer Rae? That's when I brought up Rosa Mendes. Maybe, yeah, for one match, Rosa Mendes and Adam Rose. But other than that, there really isn't anyone else. And it just goes to show you that really the Divas division, it needs some help. It really does. It's sad. So after that promo, we were reminded of the Taker Brock Lesnar brawl from last week. That's when the ad came up about Brock Lesnar making an appearance next week on Raw. Then we had some tag team action. The Lucha Dragons taking on Los Matadores with the Primetime Players. They were on commentary by popular demand. Titus O'Neil made that point back by popular demand, and I was looking forward to it because they've proved that unlike a lot of superstars, when they are on commentary, you don't really get to focus on the match because you got these guys going on, and most of the time it's not really in tune to what was supposed to be seeing in the ring. But Primetime Players, Darren Young, special mention, they talked about him having been practicing his commentary skills. And what was his line? The line that he kept saying. I've forgotten the line, but it was pretty cool. He had been practicing this one line that he was hoping to say when he gets the chance to be on commentary again. I think they roped in Michael Cole. Maybe Darren Young was inspired by Michael Cole, so he had found some line to say during commentary. But anyway, they were on commentary. That was cool. The match itself was fantastic. I think people underestimate these tag teams, especially Los Matadores, because you see them, you think, okay, they're not as exciting as these other guys, probably because they're not as pushed as the other teams. But I think from matches like this, people backstage should start to take notice. Fans as well, they should start to take notice that, yeah, the Los Matadores, they could be a great tag team. Given the chance, yeah, I think they can be a great tag team. The Lucha Dragons, former NXT tag team champions, they should have acknowledged that with commentary. They should have touched on their NXT history, The match would be disrupted by the New Day coming in with this sign saying Mega Dad of the Year for Kofi Kingston as a nod to Titus O'Neil. He won an award for, I think, the maybe best dad of the year, sports dad, I think, something like that. He got that award. So New Day would touch on that. They came to the ring, disrupted the match. The Matadores they lost the match thanks to the New Day, which was funny because New Day disrupted a match between the Los Matadores and the Primetime Players last week. It cost the Primetime Players that match, and this week the Lucha Dragons, they got one over Los Matadores thanks to the New Day. With a promo from Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper. Again, with Wyatt's promos, I like his promos, but I would like to see more of him responding. Like, a promo exchange between him and whoever he's in a feud with. He's there, the guy he's feuding with, he's there, they're exchanging promos. I would like to see more of that because I think when you have Wyatt orating, these one-man promos, as I'd like to call them, you lose the crowd because, honestly, attention spans are so short these days, and with the crowd like the WWE Universe, and you have Wyatt with these long promos, you're going to lose the crowd, and I think that affects the Wyatt character because he's so good with his promos. You don't have any problems promo-wise when it comes to Bray Wyatt, but it gets lost with the WWE Universe. That's the unfortunate thing, especially when he was talking about his pet, then coming back to Luke Harper having returned. Luke Harper also having a promo as well about his life belonging to Wyatt, that he is grateful and all that. They touched on Dean Ambrose. They touched on Roman Reigns again. We wonder what's going to be the next chapter as far as Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt is concerned. What's the way forward? Roman Reigns was not on Raw this episode. Yeah, just so you know, he was not there. Wonder what's the way forward for SmackDown. Find out. Then we had some more tag team action. Charlotte and Becky Lynch versus Nikki Bella and Alicia Fox. Another physical match. Great match from the ladies. Alicia Fox, I think, I came across this online. She suffered a concussion from that match because she took a nasty fall. I think on her head or neck. Was it a clothesline or a trip from Charlotte? No longer remember. Some move, but the way Alicia landed, it looked really nasty. So that could have been the cause of that. Back and forth action, no problems there. Great match. I was hoping Becky Lynch would get a win here because I wouldn't have liked it if, it's just Paige and mostly Charlotte getting the wins. If Becky, because automatically it just looks like Charlotte number one, Paige second, and Becky Lynch third. As far as if you're going to look at pushes and marketing aspect, yeah, Charlotte is up there, Paige second, Becky Lynch third. So I think now they should start giving Becky Lynch some victories in this revolution, and I'm happy that she got the the win in this tag team match. They advertised as well that she would have a singles match against the Divas champion Nikki Bella on SmackDown. I hope she'll win that one. That would be a big win for her right now, taking out the Divas champion, who has a victory over Naomi from SmackDown. Yeah. Then we got the Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens first time ever match with Sheamus. He was at commentary. I didn't have any problems with Sheamus at commentary. He doesn't go on and ruin, the focus of the match. He can keep his cool. You can expect he keeps focus on what's going on in the ring. It was a great match, though I'm sure a lot of fans again are still not happy about where they've positioned Kevin Owens right now, coming off his feud with John Cena. Now it's like he's just being thrown into matches against top guys, but not much of a direction. But I think the way I see it, they're pushing towards Kevin Owens versus Cesaro, although he walked away from a match against Rusev on SmackDown. So what happens to Rusev? I'm hoping it will lead up to a triple threat match at SummerSlam. Have these guys at least do something at SummerSlam, considering now it's a 4-hour match. So unless Dolph Ziggler is going to show up at SummerSlam, probably, so that takes Rusev out of the equation. So it will be Cesaro and Owens. The match ended in DQ because Sheamus would get involved. Orton and Owens were fighting outside. Brogue kick from Sheamus to Orton. Ref called for the bell. Sheamus, I think he got his chance to fight Orton, or he left. No longer sure. But what happened? He got to attack Orton, and then Cesaro would show up. He took out Sheamus. He got his chance to fight Owens, but Owens got the upper hand. Papa Powerbomb, taking out Cesaro. So he got his little chance to shine, but it wasn't for long. Then after that, we had a backstage interview. Renee Young, she was with the United States champion John Cena. This was just before the main event, and Wade Keller touched on WWE should have more of this to hype like matches like the main event and other big matches happening in the show, because it's like they just mention that, okay, tonight we've got this match, and then that's it. They don't promote the match as he says. But this backstage interview with Cena before his main event, that was a step in the right direction. Perhaps they've been paying attention to Mr. Keller's comments. So Cena talked about being United States champion, what he's been doing these past couple of months, and how this main event affects him and all that. That was his time. Then we had that main event. I was surprised because I thought, aside from how the crowd would feel about this match, because neither of these guys are crowd favorites, especially John Cena, despite that he's a babyface. But we all know the whole Cena situation. Cena, let's go Cena. Cena sucks. That kind of thing. When you'd expect, if you don't like Cena, then at least show some support for whomever he's fighting, right? And yeah, that was the case here. There was no cheering for Seth Rollins. As expected, he's a big heel. But anyway, that didn't take away the quality of the match. This was a great match, physical match. It didn't feel like Cena had downgraded performance-wise from the feud he's been having with Kevin Owens. And I think that's what should be happening, that he's just come from this feud with Owens, the matches he's had with Cesaro for the title, quality matches. He gets better and better. His new moves, he should keep them. He should rotate them, other than You just save them for those big feuds or those big opponents. Use all those moves against whichever opponent steps up from now on, because at least you can't have people complaining that I use the same moves over and over. As long as he keeps adding in new moves, or finding innovative ways to use moves, cool. It'll keep him, from being looked at as being stale, because you've got him evolving moveset wise. Character wise, that's a different debate altogether. We can talk about that some other time. As far as John Cena is concerned, he's not gonna be turning heel anytime soon. From what I know about him, nah, he's not turning, unless of course WWE decide, hey, we're turning you heel. But knowing WWE, they probably won't turn him heel, not anytime soon. But anyway, this was a great match between them. Nothing to take away from Cena, nothing to take away from Seth Rollins. This was Seth Rollins actually putting on a good match. Something, I guess it made up for what we got at Battleground, because really that wasn't a match. That was just basically a suplex display, pretty much, with Undertaker coming in at the end. But we got Seth Rollins in a match here. Okay, he had a match against Cesaro on SmackDown, yeah, good match, but this match was impressive. This was great. And there was the knee to John Cena's nose, which broke his nose, I'd say midway during the match. And that was, I think, the highlight of the episode. John Cena breaking his nose there. And you'd have expected John Cena to continue with the match. Was I wondered, okay, he's broken his nose, what's going to happen now? But he stayed in there to continue the match. They had a ringside physician there to check on his nose, but he continued with the match. He got his win. The move that Seth Rollins, I think, was that a corkscrew moonsault? I should think so. Big move from Seth Rollins. That, I think, was what cost him the match, because he missed that move. John Cena would get in there, apply the STF, didn't take time for the champion to tap out. Cena, he retains the United States Championship. What's the way forward now? Because the Cena versus Seth Rollins, I think a lot of people were looking at it as a match to happen at SummerSlam, champion versus champion, maybe both titles on the line or one of the titles on the line. But we had them compete here on Raw. What happens next? What's going on? What's going to happen next week on Raw? What happens to John Cena as far as his broken nose is concerned? We'll have to find out. But overall, this was a good Raw to watch. Not really a follow-up from last week's big brawl. I think a lot of people were hoping to get a follow-up from that brawl in this week's episode, but we didn't really get that. But we did get a lot of first-time encounters. So perhaps, and there were good matches on top of that. So I think that should have pacified a lot of fans who were looking for the alternative. So no problems about this week's episode of Raw. Good matches. Today is Wednesday. So my next review, of course, will be on NXT, TNA, Lucha Underground, which should be kicking off Ultima Lucha this week. I'd say part 1 of 2. So looking forward to that. And tag team, NXT tag team titles on the line. Vaudevillains taking on Blake and Murphy. That's what we're looking forward to. Or Jeff Jarrett being inducted into the TNA Hall of Fame on TNA. Yeah. So we're looking forward to that. Death Before Dishonor. Hoping to watch it today. Then I'll give my thoughts on it. Just briefly. I'll see. But yeah, hoping to look forward to that. Next episode after this review, of course, Monday Night Raw Audio Universe. That is definitely coming. I've got Raw set up. All I need to do is record and it will be up. So thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed the review. I'd wanted to touch on the Hulk Hogan situation because I just thought maybe I should touch on it briefly because I cannot talk about my early memories of wrestling as a child without bringing up Hulk Hogan. He was someone I looked up to back then. Although I don't remember a lot of his time on WCW, but WWF, Hogan was there. I was a big fan of him, but at this point, I'm more disappointed than angry. You know what I mean? Because really, you'd have expected. Well, I didn't really expect him to be that kind of guy, to have something to say about a person of color. Worse off, someone who's dating his daughter, to say that much about him. And, as a person, my stance on him has changed. I'm disappointed. I am. And though I think WWE disassociating with him, good move, but I think it was swift, though. I think maybe they should have waited just a little bit. Then maybe he's got something in mind for his public image, as far as his public image is concerned. Maybe he's got something to do now, but right now it's mostly just him on Twitter trying to get some sympathy from fans. And what really gets me, though, is you've got people who are saying he made a mistake, people who are trying to support him and all that, but honestly, he made some racist remarks. How can that be a mistake? Honestly, even if he apologized, he apologized, but at the end of the day, he said what he said. It doesn't change that fact. So I wouldn't call it a mistake. It is what it is. He said what he said. So calling it a mistake, no, that doesn't work at all. I think, he should stay out of the public eye for a while. Really. Just disappear. And then if he has sorted out his affairs, he can come back. But this time of him spending on Twitter, retweeting and getting looking for sympathy from fans and all that is not helping him at all. It really isn't. So I'm disappointed, really. Being angry at him isn't going to make things any better for me at all. I'm just disappointed because I can be disappointed with him now and then I can just forget about it, rather than being angry and then it builds and builds and builds, So I'm just disappointed. Now also, what does this mean for Hogan in our audio universe? Because he's there. I think I'm just going to write him off. Because even right now, I don't see any storylines I can put him in. Right now, I don't think I'd have anything sorted out for him. So I'm just going to write him off. Maybe we can say this past weekend, the NWO had a retirement match. Their last match, I'd say, for Universe Mode, they were defeated by the Shield. Their last match was against the Shield. So the NWO is gone. I think that's my send off for Hogan. Again, more disappointed than angry, really. This is a guy I looked up to, and this is how it, news-wise, you've got what's going on with Bill Cosby. I looked up to Cosby because I think, yeah, one of the best comedians of all time, but you've got what has happened to Cosby, and then you've got what has happened to Hogan as well. So really bad week, yeah, especially for his fans, for their fans, I'd say, but not happy at all, disappointed. That's all I'm going to say as far as Hogan is concerned. So thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed this review for for Raw. Audio Universe on the way after this episode, and then I'll have my review for TNA, NXT, SmackDown, Lucha Underground, and Ring of Honor, possibly on Monday next week again, because these shows I'll get to see them later on in the week, and I might not get a chance to record over the weekend. So possibly next Monday, that's when I'll have that review ready. But Audio Universe on the way. If I get the time, maybe I'll have Raw, I'll have NXT down as well, and then release them together. We'll see how things go from today. So again, thank you guys. Just a reminder as well, all the episodes of Audio Universe archived on YouTube. I'll have the link for the playlist in the description below. So for those guys who may not find all the episodes on SoundCloud, they're on YouTube. You can check them out there. They may not be on SoundCloud. I'll delete because I don't have space, but they're on YouTube. That's where you can get your older episodes and everything. So don't worry about that. So thank you guys. Hope you enjoyed this review. Next episode, on Monday Night Raw, Audio Universe returns on the road to payback. Thank you.